I remember hearing a story about a preacher who, by all appearances, was a good man. Unfortunately, someone working underneath him was not so good and did a great deal of harm to the preacher's ministry. And even though in his heart of hearts the preacher knew something was wrong, because he didn't like confrontation, he pretended not to see anything. And by doing that, he enabled that other person to continue in their sin. And so ultimately, the preacher was guilty as well. And it reminds me of a famous Old Testament story. But because it's literally minus 27 degrees out here, let's go inside and I'll tell you more about it in there. Now, the story begins with a young boy by the name of Samuel, who served in the household of Israel's top religious leader, an elderly man by the name of Eli. And one night, the young boy awoke. He heard someone calling him. So naturally, he assumed it was Eli, and he ran to his bedside. But Eli said it wasn't him and to go back to sleep. A little while later, he heard someone calling him again, so he ran to Eli. But again, Eli said that it wasn't him and go back to bed. Yet when it happened a third time, the old man finally clued in that perhaps God was speaking to the young lad. And so he instructed Samuel that if he heard the voice again to say, "Yes, Lord, your servant is listening." Well, God did speak to the young boy, informing him that he would severely judge Eli and his family. You see, although Eli was by all appearances a good man, nevertheless, his two sons who served as priests underneath him were not. They did many horrible things. And even though Eli had the power to stop them, he didn't, and thereby shared in their guilt. And the young boy Samuel took all of this to heart. He became one of Israel's greatest prophets. When even the most powerful man in the land, the king, disobeyed God and tried to worm his way around God's commands, Samuel would have none of it. He called him out on it and took away his blessing. And so the moral of the story is that being an Eli is not good enough for God. We need to be more like Samuel. Thanks for watching.